Please talk about standard advances. My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. I can talk about advances, but it's really difficult to talk about standard advances because there's really no such thing. I have talked to authors and I have seen contracts come through in which there is $0 of an advance, but there's a slightly higher royalty rate being paid out up to like 50% on royalties. Those types of contracts are usually going to be associated with smaller presses or like more kind of niche audiences because there's not as much money up front, but they are going to be paying you a bigger chunk on the back end because they believe that your book needs to be out in the world. They just don't have a lot of cash. They're sinking all of their resources into producing the thing and they're going to give you a bigger cut as a result. But it is also possible for debut authors to get $1 million advances. Those are extremely rare. Do not count on that being the case for you, but it does happen every once in a blue moon. Mathematically, the median advance for a debut fiction author is $60,000. Now, that is a median, not a mean. And so this means that about half of authors are below that number and about half of authors are above it. There's virtually no limit to the upper end of that, but the lower limit is obviously zero. Certain genres tend to pay more, and certainly the bigger houses pay more. They have bigger budgets. Penguin Random House has a lot more cash lying around than an independent press being run out of Central Arkansas, for example. If you are an independent press who happens to be running out of Central Arkansas, I really picked a random place. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so specific with my randomness. Adult books are almost always going to pay more than kid lit books, and literary fiction and historical fiction are going to pay more than genre fiction for the most part. There are always going to be exceptions to this, and you're always going to be able to be like, oh, but so and so this person, and that's why they say there's not really a standard here. Royalty rates are pretty standardized per house, so like you're not going to be able to negotiate royalty rates with someone like Penguin Random House or even your mid-sized presses. They're going to say like, these are our royalty rates. There's a pretty obvious and logical argument to be made that if they were to change royalty rates from one author to another, that could be construed as pay disparity and therefore discrimination. So they keep the royalty rates the same and they use a P&L line to try and figure out how much your book is going to generate and therefore justify the size of the advance. Which is why literary agents are often going to be much more focused on negotiating the size of the advance, and they're not even going to try with the royalty rates because those are set by the house and there's nothing anybody can do about those for a whole bunch of different reasons. So while there are no real standards or guidelines here, you can sort of realize like smaller press means smaller advance, larger press means they have a larger budget and you can probably push and press for more money. But even that, they might say, nope, this is what our P&L says. We're not going above this dollar amount. The longer that you are in this business, the more you are able to understand the value of your manuscript and the value of your work, and you're able to show a sales track record, and you can use those things to your advantage as well. All of this is made significantly easier by having a literary agent on your side. If you are going at this alone, you are the real like David up against Goliath here, and you're not going to win.